What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you stopping by, spending a few minutes of your time here with me today. I want to go over with you Friday's charts, including the trades I took on NASDAQ and the DJ30, right? But we're also going to look at, all of the pairs basically on my watch list that gave potentially good trades on Friday, right? Now, you can see here on this NAS chart, I've marked off the master pattern. This Wednesday gave us that lower low, which alerted me to the fact we may be on the backside of this move. If that's the case, right, we're looking for pump and dump scenarios. Now, I can't just use this as a target, right, and expect that on Friday we're going to drop 1,000 pips, right? So I have located other potential target areas before we come to the session, all right? Here's the Friday chart. You can see we have the previous day's high over here, but we also have the current day's high marked off and the London lows. So we're not marking off necessarily the high of the day and the low of the day prior to the New York Open, but we're marking off the most recent high and low, the most recent obvious high and low levels, all right? Because if this level is obvious to you, it's obvious to other traders, all right? There are orders there, same up here. So you can see that this market, 9:30, do not take trades before 9:30. I won't even take a trade before 9:30 if we are looking at a Forex pair, right? 9:30 is even important for your Forex pairs. So 9:30, we pump up through the current high of the day, putting in a new high of the day level back into the previous day's levels before dumping down from high of day to low of day, going straight through closing price, straight through the previous day's low, putting in the next lower low here, right? Here is EU. We have the same sort of deal. We got London lows, closing price, the previous day's low right here as potential anchor points for targets. This market after 9:30 pumps up through the current high of the day, through New York levels from yesterday, back into these London levels before dumping from high of day to low of day. Remember, this price movement on your charts is not random, okay? Price is moving from objective to objective, from level to level, from high to low, from low to high. Here on the DJ, and I know a few of you guys traded this chart in the Discord group, so congratulations to those of you who took this trade. Well executed, okay? All you got to do is just keep doing that over and over and over again, right? So you can see 9:30, we spike up through the high of the current day, back into the high from the previous day, and then we dump down to low of session, okay? We don't go all the way back down here, all right? And you have to be taking that into consideration. You can see yesterday, right, we had this big bullish move, and right around 9:30, this market chopped sideways. That's where we're pulling back to, right into those levels, okay? There was a lot of business being conducted here, so it makes sense, right? People were buying this market up. We go right back into those traders. Here's the Bitcoin chart. Same sort of deal. We have a clear high and low on the current day. 9:30 comes around. We pump back up into that high, drop and break that low. You can see right in there, we put in a lower low. This market pumps up one more time to closing price before dumping back down. All right. I considered trading Bitcoin, but I just settled on the NAS. Sometimes you got to do that, right? Here's gold. Again, after 9:30, we pump up through the high of the current day or into the high of the current day before dumping down, right? And you can see we previously broke these low levels. We broke down right there, pumped back up past 9:30, around 10 o'clock to dump down. Very nice chart. All right, here's the US dollar, Japanese yen. This one was a little, iffy, not necessarily the best moving pair on the day, but I'm still showing you the structure, right? We come down, we break through the low of the current day after 9:30, and then pump back up, taking out these equal highs that were in the London session. So even though we're not going back up here, this was still an obvious level, right, of equal highs where there are potential orders being waiting to be absorbed into this market, right? So we still are going from level to level, from objective to objective. And that's what I'm trying to drive home to you. You will be safe if you're waiting for a level to be taken before you enter your trade. Okay. So you might want to short this market, for example, before 9:30, right? But there's really been no level that's been taken until after 9:30, when we take out the low of the current day and then catapult right back to closing price, or through those London highs back into these Tokyo levels, right? On the Swiss franc here. These are the trades I took on the NAS. My entries, this was my first entry into this market up here at that level, right? And then I entered again right here. It's hard to tell because at this point in the trade, my stop losses have been moved to break even or a little bit in the profit, right? But those are the positions I took on the NAS, secured a very nice win. I closed it, I think a little bit lower than this. And here's the trade I took on the DJ, right? I was focused on NAS, but I still got in on the DJ, maybe a little irresponsible, right? But I closed this trade with, I want to say, like 35, 40 pips or something. In total, with the US 30 and the NAS, we took like 275 pips out of the market on a free cash Friday, okay? Using these levels. That NAS trade, absolutely beautiful, okay? The clear high and low, we're waiting for one of those levels to be taken. All right, we look left and see, what's over here. It makes sense, right? We're going back into these levels. Traders shorted this market, right? There are potential stop losses being trailed and all that, right? So it makes sense. We go through that high of the day level, 9:30 for that dump. Beautiful chart, right? And you can see the obvious pump and dump template, all right? Anyway, man, until next time, I hope you continue to free your mind.